Hello everyone. Okay, so now that we know how to set up our layers, now we're actually going to go and put them into practice. We're going to draw something and I'm going to work actually on one of the or two of the exercises that we need to complete for this unit 12. Okay, so on page 12-9 of your class pack, you'll see that you have all of the instructions for drawings B12-4A, 4B, and 4C. Okay, those are basically multi-view drawings as we did on the handdrafting part of the class. B12-4A is the first one. You have the front, the top view, and then you need to add the missing right side view. The same thing happens with 4B, B12-4B, and 4C. It's going to be just the front and the top view. As you see them on the handout, that's exactly what you're going to recreate. And so because 4B and 4A are very similar in setup, I'm going to work on 4B just because it has more lines, center lines, hidden lines, circles, center lines. Then 4A has all object lines, and I think it has one small hidden line. So I'll work on 4B, and you should be able to complete 4A from there. But before I start, I want to show you the importance of layers. Okay, on an existing drawing right here, okay, this right here, it's an actual drawing, an actual architectural drawing. If I zoom out a little bit, it's a house, you see. But if I were to present something like this, it has all kinds of information that it's really hard to see, to understand, to read, and someone will have a really hard time figuring out things right here. So we have many different layers right here, and if we were to go and actually look at a floor plan, you'll see that it's a lot better right here because I only have the layers that I need: dimensions and text and walls and some furniture. This is a floor plan. If I were to go to a foundation wall, then there's different information. I don't see the same information that I see on my floor plan. You can see that I don't have the dimensions and all that, and I can go to another plan such as the electrical. Now I only see things that pertain to the electrical drawing, so that gives me a clear sample of how and why having the layers set up according to the needs is very important. Okay, just wanted to give you a physical sample, a real life sample of how your layers are going to make your life a lot easier. So let's go back to our exercise right here, and according to our assignment directions, I need to create a border using the rectangle command right here. Okay, so I'm going to create a border using my rectangle command. We already know how to use it. We used it in previous assignments. But I'm gonna go and I'm gonna click on rectangle right here, and then my first action is going to be specify the first corner point. It tells me right here. So I'm going to start at 0, 0 according to my instructions, and the second point is going to be 10.5, 7.75. That is going to allow me some margins for the 8.5 by 11 paper. Okay, so that's my border right there. Now, what is wrong with this border right here? I created my layers. I set my layers up so that I can put my drawing objects on the right layer. So if I look at this border, it's supposed to be under border. But if I go and I select it and I go to my layers right here, it's actually under object. So that's not where I want it. So I can do two things. I can delete it, select it, delete, and recreate it, I can simply select it, and I can actually go and transfer that to the correct layer. So if I just select it and then go and click on the actual layer, the correct layer, then it will automatically move there. You notice that this goes back to the object line because I made that my current layer when I finished setting up those layers under the layer properties. But in this case, I created my border. It was on the wrong layer. I can make mistakes like that, but as I work on my exercises, I try to remember that every time I'm gonna draw something different, I must go first and put that layer as the current layer. So in this case, I created my border as it was stated on my instructions. Okay, so now that I have that, I can actually start working on my object. So 12-11, page 12-11, B12 4B exercise has a front and top view, and then I will add the right side view. So I will create these two, and the first thing I need to do is I want to make sure that I am in the correct layer right here when I draw something. So in this case, I'm going to be under object line, so that's the correct one. And it tells me that I need to start at point 2.375, 5.875. Remember that the very first point that we start working with is always going to be an absolute value. It's always in reference to the 0, 0. And after that, we remember that we activated, or that we needed to activate this dynamic input command. So if we just go to our status bar right here and make sure that the dynamic input, as we can see right here, it's blue, that means it's active, then we don't have to do the absolute, relative, and polar ways of inputting our information as we did previously. We can just activate this, and that goes to the relative mode. And if we just activate that one, then we don't have to input the information, the actual at x comma y. Okay, so I just activated that. Now I go and I said, okay, I am going to create a circle, and it looks like it's going to be with a diameter of 1. So I know that under my circle, I have the options of center radius or center diameter. So the first one, I'm going to do center diameter, and my starting point for those, there's two of them, 2 holes. It's going to be at 2.375, comma 5.875, and I hit enter. And then it gives me my circle, my option. Then it wants me to input the diameter. So at this time I can simply type 1 because that's what it tells me. And then I have my first circle, okay? And I'm going to activate my ortho. You can see under the status bar right here that I can have my ortho on. Allows me to go vertically or horizontally only. And if I wanted to go under polar, then I can go in this symbol right here, my F10 or my polar track, and I just click right here, and I can always select any of my angles, my increments that I want right here, 5-degree increments, 10, 15, 18, and so forth. So I'm gonna leave it at 45 for now. And so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna say, well, I need now the second circle on the outer part of this shape is going to be with a radius. Now the first, this one that I just drew was a diameter. Now the second one is with a radius 2 times, so that's a radius of 8.75. So I go again and select my center radius, go to the center point right here, and my radius is going to be 0.875. and I hit enter. Now I have that part. You will follow the same instructions. I'm actually doing the exercise itself that you will be doing yourself. So I see that the second part of my object right here has a certain distance from the center. So I'm gonna actually go to my copy command right here and say copy this object from the center, and I'm gonna move it in this direction. So I'm gonna copy it in this direction with a distance of 2.250, and then hit enter. Then I hit escape. So now I have this two parts, and as you will see on your exercise, there are a couple of lines that I need to create. So there will be a line that goes from the quadrant point to the quadrant point right here, and then I go line again from the quadrant point to the quadrant point. Remember, it's going to be important that you have your object snap active with the right locations, whether it's quadrant, center, tangent, and so forth, midpoint. So when I look at my shape, it looks like this part right here will be left with both circles, but this one right here gets trimmed. The inside part doesn't exist. So I'm gonna go to my trim command right here and select trim. And remember, I can do it two different ways. I can select my boundaries right here and then hit enter, and that goes away. Or if I go undo, I can always go trim, hit enter, and then I can just trim there. So I have that part right here. Now the next thing you need to do right here is you need to add your center lines with the center mark, because we're looking directly in front of these views, these circles, perpendicular to the circle, so we have to add some center lines. Now, in order for me to not double the work, I want to make sure that I go to the center so that I can add the correct center lines right here. Now, the fastest way for you to create those is going to be if you go to annotate. So now you're going to go to the annotate tab right here, and towards the center right here, so you'll see something that says center mark and center line. If I go to the center mark and I simply touch the largest circle, it will automatically put my center lines right there. And remember, it gives me automatically my 1/8 of an inch distance past the edge of the object. So in this case, all of those quadrant points will be extended for the center line 1/8 past the edge. I just hit enter and I'm done with that part. So my top view, it's done. So now my instructions say that I need to keep a 1.5 inches distance between my views. So I can do that in several different ways. Let's see, I'm going to do it the easiest way. I'm simply going to go back home and I'm going to offset. Okay, so specify distance to offset 1.5, enter, and I'm going to offset this one here. That's the distance in between my views. So now I can actually project. If you recall, projecting multi-view drawings from the top to the front, I know this has to project somewhere right here. Now you can see something is going on right here that I shouldn't be doing. Hopefully you realize that. As you can see, these lines shouldn't be center lines. They should be under the object line. So I have to go and make sure that I change here to my object line. Well, that didn't change right here. Well, because those are already created under that layer. But I said I can always select them. Simply go and drop them under the correct layer. And that'll be the right location. So I will continue to project. I simply go and say, okay, line. I know that I need to have this center right here and down. Right click, line is going to extend from this point. Say that I project the center. And then I also need to project the quadrant points from here down and from here down. I need this inside part from here down, and I will have to project this one down as well. And so now I can go to my front view and say, okay, what is my overall height right here? So remember that the first thing we do is we can actually do our overall height. So I'm just going to go and say offset, and my measurement says that my overall is 2.5. So my distance 2.5, enter, and I go from here to there. Then I hit enter. But then there's also, if I go and I extend this, remember I can extend this line right here. If I go and offset that one, because my one of these parts, this part right here is going to be lower than this one right here. And when you see your measurements, you'll realize that it has a distance of 1 unit. So I'm going to go 1, enter. I'm offsetting this one 1 unit. Okay, so now as you will follow, I can chamfer. Okay, when I go here, I need to make this and this a corner. And then I have to do the same thing for this one. So chamfer with a distance of 0, 0, so that I can make a 90-degree corner there. Now these lines right here, you'll see they are part of my void right here. This part, it's a hole that goes through right here. That's my instructions say. So they're going to go from the top all the way down. And if you have not noticed yet, you will realize now that I need an extra line from here down. When you see your exercise, it goes all the way to here. Okay, so I will have to do another chamfer right here from this part to that part. Okay, and then I can do some trimming. Okay, I can go trim, and I'm going to trim some lines from here, some lines from here, and some lines right here. And you did all this work last week, so you can put a crossing window, everything goes. Crossing window right here, everything goes. Crossing window right here, and everything goes. Now I just have to do a little bit of cleanup right here. Okay, this line right here is not going to be the most efficient way, because I'm going to need a center line, and I'm going to need a center line for this one as well. So I'm going to delete those. I should have not done it since the beginning, but I'm going to have to go and put these lines on the right layer, because they are hidden lines. They're going inside because it's a hole right here. As you will see your exercise with your instructions, this is also a hole that goes through a solid surface. So if I just select him, go and drop him under the correct layer, in this case hidden line, they will come hidden lines. That is representing this part here, this part right here, inside of the outer cylindrical shape, as you will see on your pictorial drawing. Okay, and now what I need is my center lines to reflect this. So I'm gonna go and move to the annotate tab again. And I'm going to go, instead of the center marks go when you look directly in front of the circle. In this case, we're only looking at one side, because remember, from here we're looking in this direction. So I'm actually going to put a center line. And the center line, you're going to locate it in the center of this line and that line. And I go again, and then I said center line in between this line and that line. Now I will ask you, what is wrong with that? So you realize that this line, it's the correct line type, but it's not in the right layer. And I did that on purpose so that you can see that sometimes we do have to be careful, because we do extra work that is not necessary, and that obviously slows us down. So I'm going to go and say, you know what, I'm just going to move those to the right layer. So I can do it two ways. I can select him, select that one, select escape, select this one, and drop it under the correct layer. Or what I can do also at this time, there's this little command right here called match properties. If I click on that, I can go and say, this is my source. I want these lines to become like this. So this is my reference. This one should become that one. and that one. See, that's match properties. That means that the first one that I touch is my reference, and any other line that I touch will become the same as that. So that automatically moves those to your correct layer. So from here, all you have to do really is project from here in this direction, from here in this direction, and then you will create your right side view right here. Remember, you can create your miter line right here and project through and down across, and make sure that you reflect the right side view as it will appear from this direction and from this direction. So I created these two. You will create the right side view. Now you know that how you can create your hidden lines, your center lines, and your object lines. Okay, so we know that this reflects that because we can match every single point. Okay, all right, so I will give you a sample for the next exercise on the next video.